Hi everyone, Stephen McGuire here from Total Retail Control. What I'd like to do today is to give you a little bit of information and advice, I suppose, in and around the purchase of an EPOS system. As I'm sure you're aware, these types of systems sit at the heart of many retail organisations, modern retail organisations. They provide controls around various areas such as management of stock and cash, management of staff and customers, and management of our supplier relationships as well. These systems, when selected correctly, can add a huge amount of value to an organisation, great efficiencies, great ability to generate additional revenue. But equally, what we must be aware of is a poorly selected system or delivered by a poorly selected partner can have a fairly negative impact as well, sometimes eating up significant amounts of resources in terms of time and money. So putting a little bit of effort and time into the actual purchasing of the actual your new system is something that I would suggest is very well advised. So the first recommendation I'd really make would be that we actually look to see what the end system as deployed will actually deliver for us. So what do we actually want to achieve? What are our drivers to move onto a new system, and what would the actual system, what should it do, or how should it look when it's finished and working away very well? So what we want to look at is in around what we would call the 5 fundamentals of effective retailing. So we talk about management of first of all, management of cash. So what do we want our new system to actually achieve to move us forward in that area? So is it the case that we'd like the system to do, say for example, blind cash declarations or deliver system alerts? Then maybe we move on to looking at the next fundamental, which is stock. And what we look at there is, do we want, for example, for the system to reduce our inventory, to allow us to do suggested purchase ordering or more efficient processes at goods inwards, whatever it may be. We really should list out and document these key drivers for change. Similarly, around management of staff, we might want to say that the system must identify best performing and worst performing sales assistants, so we can advise who needs a pat on the back and who maybe needs a little bit more coaching. We might also want to look at our relationships with our suppliers. What will the system deliver around that area? Is it the case that a system like this will allow us to identify better performing suppliers and enhance our relationships with those guys, and maybe get rid of the suppliers who aren't operating quite so strongly for us? And then finally, around that, we would look at our relationships with customers. So is it very important for us to deliver maybe a better understanding of our customer, understanding top spending customers, which customers have fallen away from our organisation, who buys a particular type of product X, and allow us to market to those guys? Is that the type of thing we want to do? So we want to base around those areas. So just to recap them, we're talking about stock, cash, we're talking about staff, and we're talking about customers. So basically around those, and you won't be too far away if you base around each of those areas what you would like to see delivered. I would recommend that you look at the actual sector in which your retail business operates. So if, for example, we're looking at say a supermarket or DIY or electronics or whatever it is, it's a very good idea to actually have a look at the types of EPOS suppliers and EPOS systems that are actually deployed in your sector. So that's very possible through conversations with existing retailers, and also to use to your advantage, the many excellent retail organisations such as Retail Excellence or Retail Ireland that are out there, and by all means there's a great store of knowledge that can be tapped into there around these types of systems at that point. We also would strongly recommend that you have a good look online, because modern EPOS suppliers have very good and informative retail websites. So certainly I would recommend taking a look at those to see does the EPOS vendor, does their systems and their mentality fit in with yours, and it's synchronized with that. So bringing those things together, then it should be possible to draw up a short list of maybe 4, 5, 6 maximum potential vendors, and really at that point you can identify those guys, get in touch with those companies, and suggest that they start their sales process. In my opinion, in our opinion here at TRC, the sales process really should be when it kicks off it's in around the needs analysis area, which is the crucial element. So what we're talking about there is the EPOS vendor really getting a genuine understanding of what it is that you're trying to actually achieve with this investment in a new system. So once we have that information, then only at that point should it be possible for the EPOS vendor to say, yes, we have a solution in our stable which is suitable, or no, we don't, or we have something that is 80% suitable but this 20% is missing, or whatever it might be. Now it's very, very important at this point that you are very comfortable that the actual vendor is very, very straight with you to say what we can and what we cannot do, and then at that point there's no reason in the world that the vendor can't give you a very, very accurate cost as to what a system should actually end up costing. So really I would be inclined, if I was a retailer, not to go much further in the process if you can't see a cost at this point. I certainly wouldn't go to see a product demonstration at this time. Cost first, then demonstration. So a product demonstration would generally be the next step. I would recommend that the attendees would be anyone with an influence or an input into the process, and anyone who's a stakeholder in the actual success or successful outcome of a new EPOS implementation. Then what we're looking at is a successful demonstration. If at that point you feel that the vendor is a good fit for you in terms of the functional system that they can put forward and in terms of their mentality and their method of doing business, then I would strongly recommend at that point that you take a look at some references, and then really you should be armed with the facts that you need to make a good call and make a good decision in terms of your EPOS requirements. Last step then really is to move forward, implement, and you know, really if you've selected the correct system, you should be in pretty good shape at that point. If you'd like to speak about any of the subjects we've talked about there, like, by all means get in touch. You know, we're very happy to speak to you. Probably the best way to get hold of us is via our website, which is trcepos.ie. Thanks very much for listening. I hope this was some help to you. Bye.